wait before we even have our sixth mystery participant.
It's a testament to your matchmaking abilities, Matt, that despite there not being a sixth person, we have this many incredible wrestlers in the ring at one time. We're talking champions and other promotions. We're talking men with reputations that would take days to recount.
Well, and even beyond champions and other promotions, you're looking at Facade, the last man standing in the ring right now, a former AIW Intense Division champion.
I don't think he's going to be standing in the ring that long.
It's coming off a springboard 450 to the outside by Facade. And wait a second. And I know the music. You know this music. Oh, and now the fans here at Absolution know the music. Ladies and gentlemen, our sixth participant is the first ever, the reigning and defending Chikara Grand Champion, the last of a dying breed himself, Eddie Kingston.
Mr. Wadsworth, I don't know if this is your doing, but the War King here in AIW and part of a six-man scramble. These fans are on their feet. They're going crazy for Eddie Kingston.
Well, and Eddie Kingston, no stranger to an AIW ring. He has appeared in the past and has been begging for his return. He wanted to see it in a rematch of that matchup that so many loved with BJ Whitmer in the past. But instead, it's going to be with BJ preoccupied in this six-man scramble. And it's a unique combination of elements. As I was saying earlier, you've got Eddie Kingston, of course, well-established and previously being seen here in AIW. Facade, former AIW Intense Division champion. Drake Younger, credentials world-renowned. But let's not forget, a former AIW Absolute champion as well.
Yes, indeed. And when you talk about that, that's the level. That's the level of a show that Absolution is. That these men, you know, Davey Vega, for instance, he and Matt Fitchett of the Sexpo Bombs were supposed to be facing the Briscoe brothers on this very show. But when Matt Fitchett went down with an injury, Davey Vega wanted to be a part of this show. So here he is in a six-man scramble. And if you win a match like this over, say, the CZW Light Heavyweight Champion Drake Younger, the Chikara Grand Champion Eddie Kingston, your career could skyrocket in an instant. And that's one hell of a double stomp by Drake Younger.
Just dropping all of his body weight down into Kingston as Kingston looked to have that submission locked in. And I mean, this combination of elements, you want to talk about explosive, this is only the second match.
The second match, and the first match, it's almost like we're on match 3 when you consider that insane brawl between the Latin Crime Syndicate and the Submission Squad. Went all around the arena. It involved tables, or not tables, it involved ladders, chairs, the wall.
Well, the springboard moonsault, a little exchange of moves. Of course, Drake Younger being hooked in the leg by Facade, only two, as I was going to say. Drake Younger, well known for his hardcore exploits, for his extreme exploits.
Huge German suplex by Kingston on Facade.
And all ego coming in, a man who's made it well known that he is looking to gain that reputation. A man who went toe-to-toe with the current Absolute champion, Eric Ryan. A man who went toe-to-toe with Willie Mack, and now some of the biggest names in professional wrestling today. Ethan Page looking to establish himself. We've already said Davey Vega was looking to make quite the impact here at Absolution. Now has a different way to do it, but he finds himself hanging out to dry by a man whose name is familiar to many of our fans, as you heard earlier, but is making his AIW debut. A long-awaited AIW debut. And a release.
Powerbomb.
Buckle bomb and lariats Vega out of his boots.
The Anarchist with a massive lariat. But he's distracted long enough for Drake Younger to come in and just start hitting him with those forearms.
Well, that's just what you have to look out for when you've got 6 men. You may hit a move. Now, Drake Younger looking for the Drake's Landing.
One of the most devastating finishing maneuvers. But Arik Cannon with some elbows to the back of the head, that's one way to break up Drake's Landing.
As on the outside, Kingston, and I believe that was Facade, I just saw go flying. Now Drake looking for that German suplex, elbowing out again as Arik Cannon. Cannon hitting the ropes, he finds himself caught, rolled all the way through, and deposited on his head.
Big fisherman's driver right there by Drake Younger. You have Kingston and Facade on the outside as Kingston almost had a winner in Drake Younger, but Kingston is whipping Facade around the ring. Ethan Page attacking Kingston. It's chaos out here.
Meanwhile, still in the ring, it's Younger and Vega now. Vega headed up top, looking to catch him, but wait a second, Ethan Page, while they battle at the top, catch him and heads him up. On the shoulders, elevated. And Arik Cannon coming in, runs right into the boot from Drake Younger. Now wait a second.
Oh.
Caught, cross body, just depositing Vega while Arik Cannon is spiked with the DDT.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
And look at this, wait a second, double cover. Covered by both men.
Men flying in all over the place to break up the pin.
Kingston and Facade diving in to keep this match from ending. All 6 of these men want a big victory, and even a guy like Eddie Kingston. So we said the first ever and the reigning Chikara Grand Champion knows what can happen in Absolution. He's a man who, while having competed in AIW, hasn't had that success. And he's called the last of a dying breed for a reason. This guy comes to fight, plain and simple. But that springboard Enziguri from Facade may have just taken the fight right out of it.
Eddie Kingston is a nasty man, as you said, and he may not have had much success in AIW, but as he has mentioned on Twitter multiple times, springboard split-legged moonsault by Facade, but Kingston blocked it with the knees, and he is up.
And he's up and depositing.
Right on the back of Facade's head.
The torque on that was so far that he almost turned that suplex into a Uranagi.
This crowd is giving Kingston all of his love, but here comes All Ego Ethan Page, and you have to figure he's been in AIW twice. He's come away with 3 losses over a weekend and a half of action. Imagine winning this match, what it would do for him coming out of Canada, coming to the States.
And
he's got Silesia Sparks up there distracting Eddie Kingston. And Eddie Kingston does not take any lip from any woman.
I think Kingston just took a page out of the Intense Division champions. He had a little bit of a thrust, a little bit of a swivel there. And Ethan Page almost got a face full of Sparks, but
Silesia Sparks just got back-fisted to the future. Page uses that distraction for a roll-up, but only gets a 2-count double clothesline.
Well, and what does that say about him as a man? He's so protective, get away from my girl, but didn't even bat an eye when she got back-fisted through the ring just about.
It's all right there in the name, Matt. All ego. If anybody gets sacrificed for the sake of his ego, I think he's just fine with that.
Well, right now, Arik Cannon still trying to recover from being deposited with that DDT earlier.
He and Facade both struggling to get to their feet in the corner. Facade approaching Cannon
and driving those forearms and those kicks and that spinning back kick. Now Irish whip across on Arik Cannon. And as I was saying earlier about Cannon, this is a guy who many people have called for to make his debut in AIW.
Did you hear that Yakuza kick?
He's finding out just what the level of competition is. Wait a second. Death Valley driver on the ring apron by Drake Younger.
Somebody needs to check on Facade immediately. That is the hardest part of the ring, and he landed head first.
Well, indeed, there's this misconception out there that a ring's just a giant trampoline. What he just landed on was a steel beam. And speaking of steel, that drop kick driving the chair into Drake Younger's face.
We are 1 or 2 moves behind. This is moving so fast. Backdrop driver by Kingston. The Anarchist has one up for one of his own, and there it is. But Kingston's back to his feet.
Kingston's up, and one of his own. The 2 of them just training those backdrop drivers.
How are they doing it?
And look at Kingston. Arik Cannon doesn't realize that he still hasn't won the battle.
Just smacks him in the face. Kingston looks more angry than anything else, and there's another one.
Any other man would be headed to the hospital with a concussion right now. These 2 on their knees now just forearming each other.
You had to wonder how a match like this, a 6-man scramble, was going to favor some of the heavier brawlers like Arik Cannon and Eddie Kingston.
Well, indeed, you're used to, sorry to cut you off there, Paul, but you're used to guys like Facade having the advantage, being able to stay above everyone, to outrun everyone.
But it looks like these 2 men, the tanks of the contest, they're the ones with the stamina, and that's a super kick right to the face, followed up by a big suplex. Kingston kicked out at 1.
On 1? Are you serious right now? Arik Cannon just deposits it.
He's going for another cover.
Now rolling over there, we see, as I said, an AIW newcomer, not a professional wrestling newcomer. You'll notice Arik Cannon rolled him away from the ropes before making the cover, and Kingston still kicked out on 2.
That's a smart move, rolling him away from the ropes, but I think that may have given Kingston the extra second necessary to kick out of that cutter.
I don't think you can gauge recovery time with Eddie Kingston. We saw that with those backdrop drivers.
We have seen Eddie Kingston go through wars, no doubt.
And
back fist by Kingston.
And a second one finally drops Cannon in the center of the ring, hook to leg. 1, 2, 3.
And that is it.